The struggle in Guatemala to provide healthcare services, it isn't something new. It is based on the discrimination issues from Mayans and non-Mayans in Guatemala.
Regarding discrimination in Guatemala towards indigenous people, I grew up in Guatemala City where most of the population is mixed, and to interact with people from a rural area or from an indigenous population was that they were usually the domestic help. They were usually working and gardening, cleaning houses. They were discriminated just by the fact that they were wearing a traditional outfit.
Guatemala today is a country that's still very much divided and fragmented since the conquest, when the native indigenous population were told that they were inherently inferior to those that came to this country. Unfortunately, we see that discrimination still reflected today, especially throughout the institutions, government institutions, a reflection of power here in Guatemala. Guatemala is a country coming off of a 36-year-long civil war. So what you have is a country that's still healing its wounds. There's a lot of people still trying to make sense of how to compete in a modern, globalized world.
Luchamos pues contra leyes que a veces se implementan que solo quieren privilegiar a ciertas comunidades, pero es necesario luchar para la salud de todas las comunidades, pues así bajar los niveles de muertes, ¿verdad? Muertes maternas, muertes infantiles. Entonces, la causa ahí sí que de todo es la desigualdad.
At GoPhil, dealing with root cause is really critical. So many people will just put a Band-Aid on a problem and think that it'll go away. And in fact, you need to look at the upstream issues like transportation, education, economics. The small grassroots NGOs are on the ground closest to the problem and really know those issues, are passionate about their programs.
The mission of Centro Maya Servicio Integral is to provide people with disabilities, especially in the rural area, which is where we are, with the opportunity to be educated, rehabilitated, to be included in society. They have to struggle with the lack of services, public services, education, healthcare, even water sometimes.
It isn't an adequate access to healthcare for indigenous in Guatemala. The main mission of ASADA is to provide quality healthcare services to indigenous communities.
There are people everywhere throughout this country, but they're not connected to services. There are many parts of Guatemala that are several hours away from the nearest urban center, and therefore all of its services. And on the list of priorities, preschool education rates pretty low on the national agenda. Here in Guatemala, 27% of all kids fail to pass the first grade. And of those 27%, some never go back to school. So we try to intervene, particularly in rural areas where there's very little education occurring prior to the age of 7.
En el caso de Asociación Primeros Pasos quiere dar ese acceso de salud a todas las personas, velar por su seguridad, con los recursos que se tienen, aprovecharlos, ¿verdad? Y poder brindar un servicio de calidad.
The role that GoPhil plays within the NGO community is really as a powerful connector, a collaborator.
Helping them not feel so isolated, helping them feel that they have a network, they have a backup, they have an organization that's interested in them personally.
NGOs need funding, and small NGOs actually are pretty resourceful, and it's fairly easy to fund them. I think what's more important than funding an NGO is going and listening to them. Ask questions, figure out what's the problem, what are their challenges.
Who takes care of the caretaker? And we need to make sure, because that's how I think the philanthropy actually gets leverage, by really caring for the leaders who have had the inspiration for a new idea or a new approach.
For me, GoPhil is a team that's not only looking at helping us address some of our financial shortcomings as an organization, but is also helping build us up from within as far as our own administrative abilities and helping us focus on what we do best.
It's more about the person and more about actual development, and that goes not only for our beneficiaries but also for us, the staff members.
Encouragement is so little used and it's so powerful. When aspiration is married to encouragement, what can happen?